Hello and welcome to the practice for the MotoGP Saxon race, well, Germany Grand Prix, but right now it's practice. Unfortunately, we have no live timings yet again at the start, and I don't think we'll be coming back this time, so the results you see on the live timings are from the previous events there.
Yeah, Marc Marquez back in. He was chatting with Sergio Verbena from Ducati. So I'm assuming that's something software, something IT related.
Yeah, Sergio is one of the engineers in Ducati uniform, so he will be looking at the firmware, whether it is a glitch, it could be mapping, it could be sensors. Just as Sylvain said, these bikes, whenever they get lost, they have a safe mode that just nothing works correctly. You're not getting the right torque output, the right traction control anti-wheelie for each corner, so it just feels quite alien. They will want to get to the bottom of it and identify the problem and, more importantly, remedy the issue. So it's you know, you want all them gremlins out of the way by Friday afternoon for sure.
On board with the man who's won the last 3 Grand Prix. He's won the last 2 sprints. He's closed the gap, what was standing at nearly 40 points, closed it down to 10 on Jorge Martin. Pecco Bagnaia, your reigning champion. Runner-up to Martin in both the sprint and the race here a year ago. Look at that, past Raul Fernandez like he was standing still down into turn 1.
We do hear the comment from mostly Maverick Vinales, I'm lacking the top speed to battle the Ducatis, and that was a perfect onboard view. Yes, it's a 2023 Ducati that Aprilia that Raul Fernandez is on board, but it does seem Ducati accelerate well. They carry the speed, they've got their numbers are perfect, so the amount of torque they put into the rear tire before it spins, the amount that the anti-wheelie system engages, it just goes
on the left
down the hill.
Someone on the left.
One of the VR46 machines.
I don't believe it again. That's a biggie. We've said it so many times early on in the session. That has to be a call.
So when you turn right, not only is a lower temperature on the right side of the tire, there's also no load. You're not pushing any load on the tire with your front brake. You're not braking. You just the front tire is just basically just about in contact with the tarmac. So it's so easy to lose it. And when it goes there, it's not coming back. You know, you are down, and you're down fast.
Rolling through that corner, and Bezzecchi comes a cropper again. It's not been a great week for Bez, I have to say. Okay, he has signed a deal to ride for a factory Aprilia for next year, but his performances at the moment are not the Bez that we have come to know and love, unfortunately. Just a quick word back on Raul Fernandez. Last race, in theory, on the 23 Aprilia. Davide Brivio says he'll get the full package. He's got the engine already, but he's got, you know, everything else will be coming from the British Grand Prix at Silverstone beginning of August.
That's good to bring him on to a level playing field. You look at Miguel Oliveira, has had the 24 machine from the start of the year, but actually Fernandez, arguably the stronger of the two inside the Trackhouse Racing garage.
Not arguably, he's ahead of him in the championship by 8 points.
Yeah.
So.
There's no argument with points, Gav. Those do tell a tale. But you know, when you look at the performances throughout the weekend, who's the faster rider? And right now, and look at Massimo Rivola is certainly leaning towards the slot being filled by Fernandez rather than Oliveira. There's 2 seats there, obviously, but whether both will be retained, we're unsure about. But it does seem like, obviously, Fernandez is deserving of the new machine. And I'm interested to see if it does give him another leg up for the second half of the series.
Maya Merigali. Oh, it looks like a bit of a bash on the nose there for Bez, perhaps.
Gravel
inside the helmet.
Yeah, look how damaged his suit is at the back there. That shows you the speed.
That's going to need a new suit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Bez starts in a tough manner. Old tyres for the start of the session here for Marc Marquez. Saying that, maybe they did like they did previous session.
Swap the tyres, yeah. They would have swapped the tyres, yeah.
It's working.
Yeah. the whole session.
Right, sorry to interrupt, but just letting you... Oh, and that is a big off there. That is Marc Marquez just completely dropping it and going into the gravel yet again. Whereabouts was that? That was in sectors 3 and 4 again. That is turn 11 yet again. Very like Bezzecchi. Turn 11 is looking to be quite a possible danger zone, it looks like, for this weekend. Though live timings are back, thankfully, so I will leave you in capable hands of TNT again, but this time with the correct live timings. Oh, and here's a replay of turn 11. Yep, he just drops it. Oh! He high-sided right over there. Thankfully, the bike did not hit him, though he was looking to lose it, and then all of a sudden, the bike just jolted him over the front. And thankfully, he narrowly missed the bike hitting him while spinning, but I shall leave you in capable hands of TNT, because I'm sure they have amazing reactions to that.
There is a lot of energy that goes into a crash like this. That's a huge crash.
He'll be winded, he'll be sore, and in a weekend where the expectation is for him to challenge for the top step of the podium, that is a blow to your confidence. Return of the King, does that say? They're expecting him this weekend. They're expecting him to do the business on Sunday. But I tell you what, that's not the way you want your weekend to start. The other bike doesn't work, so it's probably a spare bike. And
yeah, that's going to be a problem because that one is going to take some time to be rebuilt. So they're not going to be able to rebuild that before the end of session, I don't think. And if his first bike has got electronic problems, that could be game over for the session for Marc Marquez, which would be a huge blow, you know, for the sprint tomorrow. I mean, it's at the moment they already just have enough time, you know, barely enough time to get the bikes dialed in and ready for the sprint. So yeah. That is not good news for Marc.
back to the action out on the track. We'll bring you any information we get on Marco Bezzecchi and Marc Marquez, both of them going down at the Ralph Albon curve. In the early part of this session, still 50 minutes to go as Bagnaia runs it right to the edge of the racetrack there between turns 8 and 9, still climbing up the hill through 10 and now into the corner where Marc Marquez and Bezzecchi have just crashed out.
How gentle he is on the change of direction there, just puts the bike to the right, but it's not, you know, you can't really flick the bike to the right. You just have to be really gentle and wait to get like a, you know, some kind of grip information from that front. We want that front to talk to you there, and it doesn't want to talk to you. You put it there and you just don't quite know what's going to happen. So you have to be gentle, you have to wait and get the bike in position very gently, very softly.
It's not answering your calls, it's ghosted you.
Yeah.
the front tire.
You get ghosted when you turn into 11.
Roy Martin quickly back in and discussing with Daniele Romagnoli. A few riders have come quickly back in. They use this first 2/3 of the session to get the bike set up for the sprint and for Sunday's race. And the final 20, I suppose you can leave it a bit longer here, 15 minutes or so, because it's such a short lap. That will be down to pre-qualifying.
Yeah, you can actually afford to take a breath in this session, actually really go into a little twitch there from Pedro Acosta on the brakes. But yeah, usually you're so rushed in a 40-minute session, 45 minutes, you really need to be quick with your comment. The engineer can't really spend too much time looking at the data. They have to sort of make an on-the-cuff call and go with the gut instinct and the rider feedback. But here you actually have a little bit of time to breathe and make a more calculated choice for the potential changes mid-session. Just watching those, we get another graphic example of the flick over the top.
And you said before about you can't save it in there. He did his level best to save it, but unfortunately that puts him in harm's way.
Yeah, unfortunately, because the road's dropping away from you, you're chasing it. Look, he's trying to get after it for so long. It finally comes back, but unfortunately the bike was so far away from him, the rear stepped around, so yeah, it put him out the ejector seat. Not where he wanted to go. If he would have just let it slide away, it would have been much more graceful for him physically.
Marc Marquez fans shaking their head when they saw that go through. There's Nadia Padovani. Subject, we understand, of a conversation about selling the team, but it sounds like her and the family not willing to sell, and I don't blame them at the moment. But Lewis Hamilton's name was mentioned in dispatches in the conversation. There's a little bit of Marco Bezzecchi's bike on the side of the track. Every time we see it through the waterfall, there's a little glimmer of yellow, fluorescent yellow paintwork.
Yeah, usually that gravel
wing
trap
or
is
something.
always full of spare parts by the end of sessions. Yeah, unfortunately, it is a black spot for the for crashes, you know, and there is very little that riders can do about it because of that lack of feel. It's always a little bit of a gamble when you throw the bike in there. There's wind as well, as you can see there. We saw it early on as well, on the top of the hills with the flags, you know, flying. The wind is quite strong, so that doesn't help either.
On board with Pedro Acosta.
Anyway, he's put quite a lot of laps together, and he's the only rider using the hard front. He's done quite a few laps now with that pace, you know, low 21. His best lap, 20.9 in third at the moment. Acosta is looking really good.
The team will have reiterated again and again to the rookie, take your time in this session, bring things up to temperature. So easy to get caught out, as he did on the final lap actually in the Dutch TT. Just rolled off ever so slightly, knew his position in the race, and then had a biggie at turn 7.
Another 21.1, so that's good race pace that for Acosta.
Losing a lot of his time in Sector 3, which you would say that's a cautious direction change down the hill, perhaps, with the hard front tyre on there. But yeah, obviously, Sector 3 is quite a long part. We have to nail every apex as well, fast corners, and it just cost him a little bit.
Anyway, that sign there from Hervé Poncharal, that's not a route sign at all. It's what we do in France. Turn it like that, and it's like a victory sign. It's basically when you're happy, just do that.
Pedro Acosta fans, he's picking him up everywhere we go in the world. René Bastianini lined up in second at this moment in time. He just needed to qualify higher up the grid. It would be a completely different race. I have no doubt he'd be battling for wins if that were to be the case, if he was starting on the front row.
Isn't it funny how that's a weakness he's had pretty much his entire career? He's never been a stellar qualifier, and it's a trait that somehow he needs to rectify if he wants to fight for a MotoGP world title, because arguably he's got the skill, the speed, but he's got to say moving to KTM from the plum seat of a Ducati factory ride might be tough to fight for those titles in the very near future, although we don't doubt KTM's prowess and potential to develop a package that can battle with the dominant Ducatis at the moment.
Last 5 qualifying sessions for Bastianini: 9th, 10th, 11th, 5th, when he finished second in Mugello, and 11th. And of course, he came through from 10th on the grid because he moved up a spot on the Sunday to finish 3rd in the race.
And when is the last time we've seen a Honda in the top 5? Hello, Johan Zarco. What's going on?
I didn't know Johan Zarco was riding this year.
We haven't got to see these colours enough.
P5. It's a good-looking bike as well, that.
Yeah, it is. It looks fantastic, doesn't it?
We need to be speaking to Johan Zarco and Lucio Cecchinello, two of the most charismatic guys in the paddock, and unfortunately, because the Honda's not performing, we don't get to see enough of them, so this is good to witness.
Marc Marquez, a change of kit, a little grimace on his face though. He's going to go again. Thank goodness that he's unharmed from that one. He'll be sore in the morning. He will not let on even if he is hurting.
No, he bounced well. Well, it looks like he's 100% fine, which is great news, because that was a big crash. A little bit like what happened to Colin Vyer in Assen. You know, it was a high side, but he got thrown like forward, and obviously with this track going down where he is now, you kind of like, you get thrown forward, you don't land too heavy. I mean, it's a heavy landing, look at it. still heavy, but it's downhill, so it kind of like goes. The energy gets dissipated a bit, and that's still a massive.
He lands right on his right hip, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a big crash. Yeah, but yeah, he bounced well there, and it looks like no injury, so that's great to see. So yeah, Zarco in top 5 with the Honda, and that's a decent lap time as well, 21.1. It's a quick lap time that.
This is Tristan Gabarini
explaining exactly what happened to Mark, because Pecco's a bit bemused when he's seen those shots. How did he end up high side in the middle of the corner?
Pecco Bagnaia said yesterday that he expects Mark to be battling at the front this weekend. Has the potential. Here's Jack Miller. Actually was running decently this morning. It's been a tough run of form for the Aussie. But 9th quickest in this one, 6/10 down on Bagnaia. But earlier today was in 11th.
Yeah, just overcooking it there in turn 1. Easy done, sharp deceleration there. They get there about 305 km/h. That's 190 mile an hour. Yeah, the bike has got some damage there, and braking for turn 1 is about 40 mile an hour. So it's a very hard braking there. Difficult to keep the rear wheel in contact with the tarmac as well.
What's interesting there, Mark's ready to go out. If his first bike, the software glitch or whatever's happening with that bike, the electronics problem they've got, he'd be out. If he was ready to go.
They've not solved that from FP1 to this practice now, so looks like it's something complicated. So it looks like his bike 1 is kind of parked, and he's not going to go out on that bike 2 before some time. That's going to take some repairing.
It will be interesting to find out later on from the team what the story is with bike number 1 for Marc Marquez. Morbidelli up the hill, across the line now. There you see it. So your finish line is actually not even at the top of the hill. And then you go along, the start line is further down the grid, much closer towards turn 1, so don't get caught out or confused by that. Screens up at Ducati as they...
Yeah, they always do that when they actually start stripping the bike, replacing parts. They don't want any exposed, any of the engine or the inside of the bike being exposed as much as they can, which is a shame really, because that would be nice to get a sneaky peek inside that garage. Sneaky peeky, yes. Yeah, because they are beautiful. Once you strip that big aero fairings inside, everything is compact, everything's got a purpose. These MotoGP bikes are beautiful.
Tough time, isn't it, at KTM at the moment, Michael? They've got I suppose the Pedro Acosta giving them encouragement, but Bram Binder's generally having a tough time. I know he was 6th both sprint and race last time and sits 2 points behind Acosta in the championship, but we expect more. We expected, and they expected, this man, Pit Vire expected, a championship tilt this year.
Yeah, which, that came up. That's Digi.
He's holding his collarbone.
Bezzecchi.
Yeah,
That's gone for a high side.
Looks like a collarbone.
And it's D'Antonio now has crashed at turn 1. That is bad. He seems to be holding himself a little. I'm guessing maybe he's been winded. He is holding his right arm at a weird angle, so hopefully he's mostly just accidentally banged it and bruised it a bit too much, and it's just a bit of pain, though he is holding his right arm by the shoulder, well, the elbow, that's what it's called. And the bike has gone right into the barrier on top of it. That is going to take a while. It's looking to get off. So it's down in sector 1 at turn 1. And here's a replay of D'Antonio's accident. Right, so about to go round the corner, and he just drops it. I'd love to see one that wasn't on board with that. So we've got the on board, and I would like to see what we can see from everything else. So, he is holding quite near here, like near his shoulder, it seems. So maybe he's accidentally banged his shoulder. So red flag! Red flag right now. Clock is stopped at 37 minutes and 56 seconds. And the red flag is out on the track. Where's the fire extinguisher? Near where Bezzecchi's fin was. Bike. Get the things right. I'm guessing that is due to the barrier damage that is possibly happening. Session red flag due to incident at turn 1. Air fence needs to be redeployed. So he has damaged the air fence when his bike rammed into the fence. So they just need to fix that real quick. Probably a 10-minute thing, I should think, though hopefully Antonio hasn't hurt his arm and that the session will get restarted quite soon, and see him on a little bike heading back to what I presume will be medical, and seeing whether he's okay. Being asked right now if he's okay, and he still is holding his arm in a little bit of a weird way. Here's another replay of the incident. You can see where he went now. He did land on that shoulder, it seems. His bike literally went so far into it. Yeah, and immediately... Oh, I see now. Immediately he started touching his elbow after, because I think part of his bike has hit him while he was rolling in the shoulder blade. So that seems to be why he is holding his arm. I'm sure it must be a bruise or something, or perhaps even at the most a slight dislocation, which just means a little bit of time to recover. And I would think he would still be able to race with that. So session is red flagged, and I will put you back to the TNT lot so they can help talk you through this red flag.
But it's called for Saxony.
It's enough.
And also, for that time of year, Michelin would have planned an allocation that normally suits the usual, type of conditions. And normally it is a lot hotter than what it is here. So
and they have a decent range, don't they? The Michelin tyres.
Yeah, there's three tires. You got your soft, your medium, your hard, but still, it's such a big crash that. Just when you see it, Michael, does it make you feel a bit sick, just like if you were on top of it, if it actually happening to you?
I take it you've lost the front down there?
No.
Have you not?
Well, I don't remember it.
Well,
It landed on my head or something. No, I don't think
I was going to say, one of the few MotoGP riders did not crash down the waterfall, especially in the Bridgestone area that you rode in. That was so hard to get those tyres up to temperature.
I might have crashed with Yamaha in 2007, actually.
Maybe.
I don't remember. I've had loads of crashes. Some of them, when it's on the head, sometimes you just forget.
That was 118 miles an hour, roughly.
Yeah.
When he's lost the front. There's a newly shorn locks of Pedro Acosta.
And talking about KTM, so next year looks like Fabiano, sorry.
Yeah.
Stellacchini would not be there anymore.
Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it? Having come from Ducati.
2 years, spent 2 years, 3 years?
3 years, I'd say. Well, no, he came at the same time as Francesco Guidotti, didn't he?
2022, then that would have been.
Yeah,
22, yeah.
Retiring or?
No, looks like
contract not being renewed.
Contract not being
really?
renewed.
That's what GP1, Italian website,
yeah,
saying.
it was on GP1. Pete Barra apparently said he felt homesick. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. Fabiano does have he has like an engineering company himself, so I don't know, maybe just doing something else.
Yeah, he's worked as a crew chief before with Pramac. He was in there. He's worked at Ducati for many years too.
He was at Pramac when I rode there in 2007.
Yeah.
He was already the technical director.
Yeah.
And then he went on to working with the Ducati factory inside the Ducati factory outfit. And yes, moved to KTM a couple of years ago.
Right, so I've just been looking with Joshua here at my side. Yeah, here he is. And all the crashes we've been seeing so far in the last 2 sessions, including this one, is the fact that they seem to consist of mainly turn 11 and turn 1. Here's the air fence getting replaced. All the crashes seem to focus at turns 1 and 11, which are all right-hand corners. Though there is one more right-hand corner on this track, which is turn 3, but that is a hairpin, so they're not having as much trouble with that. But it seems that turn 11 and 1 seem to be the main focus point this weekend for possible crashes, since we've seen them just focusing there completely. We've had one at turn 8, but that was just accidental from Bezzecchi. Right, so back to TNT.
Giannini. Greg spoke to him yesterday. We'll get an interview for you sometime over the weekend. But essentially saying a similar sort of thing to what Maverick Vinales said. You know, he just felt right for him to make the switch to KTM. So he and Vinales will form up a duo at Tech 3 next year.
That man's been going well since Barcelona. Made a big step in Barcelona. It came a little bit before. He had some moments where the speed was real good, but in Barcelona managed to put it all together, crushing the sprint as he was leading.
Now it looks like to the medical centre for Digi.
Yeah, and the arm is down and not doing much there. So
he's putting a brave face on this, it looked like to me.
I don't think this is a collarbone fracture. I think this might have been a dislocation.
Dislocation, yeah, could be.
Tucked it back in. Now they'll just go and check how far they've hyperextended the ligaments. But we've seen it back when Marc Marquez used to pop a shoulder out, pop it back in, get straight back on the bike. But yeah, you don't want to be doing that too often. It does fatigues the ligaments, and then it becomes a more frequent occurrence, and then you have to have surgery to tighten it all up again.
Yeah, the last time I think he popped it out was Scott Redding when they celebrated when he celebrated the title in Motegi. Scott embraced him as in well done, mate, and he knocked his shoulder top tap. Strong lad, Scott is.
He is, yeah. Bear hug from Scott Redding might do that to you, okay?
Into the Honda garage, Aleix Espargaro, of course, has announced he's going to be one of the team's test riders. Stefan Bradl will still continue. And working closely. Will it be with Joan Mir? It sounds like Mir will stay on.
He said he wanted to stay.
Yeah.
And if it would feel like, like he's not achieved anything if he were to go. So looks like Joan Mir is trying to stay at Honda.
Seemed quite happy with the news that the captain has abandoned his Aprilia ship and moved across to HRC and going to be test rider there, Aleix Espargaro. So he brings a lot of knowledge from Suzuki, even Yamaha when he rode the Yamaha support machine back in the forward racing colours, and then obviously all his time developing the Aprilia. So he brings a wealth of knowledge to HRC, and hopefully that does help their progress next season.
Remy Gardner at the start of this session, I just want to talk about. There's Alex Marquez, of course. He's in 7th in this, half second behind. New 2-year deal in the pocket for Alex. But Remy Gardner has already knocked 6/10 of his time from earlier today. Just 1.6 now down on Bagnaia. So that's a really good day at
respectable.
The office. First time in the season. He's in
0.9 from his teammate Quartararo. I mean, that's good going. Yes, he's last on the times right now, but if you look at the gaps and if you know how hard it is, to just come in like that in the middle of the season and be even remotely competitive on a track that is very technical and a little bit awkward, if I'm honest, to ride with a MotoGP bike. It's a difficult track to ride around it. With low temperatures, it is a lot to take on board there, and it's a very different riding style to what he's used to now in World Superbike. So yeah, that's a good effort from Remy.
Folks from Alpina doing the work to get that air fence back up and get it safe again for the riders. Always been an air fence. Why can't they move the gravel trap any further back?
Yeah, because
perfect explanation of why right there, because that's the inside of turn 10. Snakes back on itself. This is Angel Martin with his son's surrogate dad, shall we say. At times been his big brother, hasn't he, to Jorge over the years. Come down, just have a look at how Jorge's getting along. But Aleix has called it quits this weekend. Broke his metacarpal on his right hand, 5th one, so on his little finger, the middle part of your palm. The last one on your right hand. So
it was a big crash that in a sense. But I'll get a month now to recover.
Well, I've done a good job. Pit lane will open in 2 minutes' time. Hopefully enough time for these guys just to make the advertising hoarding safe. And we'll be going again. 38, just shy of 38 minutes remaining in this session. There's Tony Congren from Erta, just letting them all know. 35, we'll be going back out there. Marc Marquez fans. Mark, more chance for him to get out there now.
He's his finger. Could be a nail that's popped out there. But if it's all that he's got after that monumental high side, you know, he's got to be happy with that.
Good crowd for Friday. And it will, of course, get busy as the weekend goes on, but a lot of people, a bit like Le Mans, do come here to spend the weekend. There's all kinds of activities for them around the racetrack. Lots and lots and lots and lots of bars. That much is certain, but there's rock concerts, all those kinds of things. But this feels like one of those, a bit like Le Mans, where the paddock is a bit boozy.
I rode for a German team, the Tens Coffee Racing team, and one of the highlights for them was the beer pump in the hospitality. That was they had you know the way Italian teams set up a coffee machine. For them, they had
an
the
ice cream
beer
machine.
pump. Yeah, an ice cream machine,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, the German team needed a beer pump set up before business kicked off for the weekend.
Sounds like that kind of hospitality.
It was.
Not going to lie. Good fun. And I'm sure they'll do things. The Germans playing in the Euros later on today. I'm pretty certain it will be on the big screens because they want to keep people here at the racetrack, keep them entertained, and keep them buying things from the concession stand.
Hopefully I can watch it while I'm doing my on-board lap.
You'll be doing the on-board lap, aren't you, later on today?
Yeah, missing the first match, but I'll be back for
the French later on.
French-Portugal.
How's your feeling about going out there on the BMW? What are you out at 7:30 this evening? Is it on the racetrack?
6:30.
It's going to be a little bit chilly then, isn't it?
Bit chilly, but
you be careful.
We haven't got full slicks. The tires are sort of like they're like sporty tires, but not not full slicks, so we'll be fine. Okay. And Neil's been giving me loads of advice as well on how I should ride.
Well, don't listen to that.
So
don't listen to that. Hey, I was really impressed actually by what you did back in Assen. Really good. It was nice to see that. We didn't have to speed your lap up, which was a good
nice
one.
to finish the lap within 5 minutes.
It didn't feel like slow mo.
Right, just quickly cutting them off just to say that pit lane is now open and we are green again. The session has got underway and we are continuing with a practice session. Everyone heading out onto the track now. Coincidentally, I can see Martine and I'm pretty sure Bagnaia. Yeah, Martine and Bagnaia are heading out on track together. Please don't crash into each other in the pit lane. Back to TNT.
Bike, I'm guessing that'll be the number 1 bike.
Well, if they repaired that number 2 bike, and that's the one he's on now, that's good going. That's a proper like World Endurance type of performance to fix a bike.
But maybe they had time to run the software again, reboot it, and Control Alt Delete and start again. The king of the ring, yeah.
Or maybe he's just going to do a lap and the problem is still there and he's going to fix it. That's a possibility as well.
We're going to find out now, aren't we? Very, very quickly. Yeah, they absolutely love Marc Marquez around this place, and is it any wonder why when ever since his year in 125 when he won on the Derby, he then won in Moto2 on the Suter, 2011 and 2012, all from pole position. And then in MotoGP in 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, break for COVID. Came back with half an arm in 21 and still won on the Honda. Let's not forget that. And then sat out in 22 because he was over in America having his arm twisted round again. And then in MotoGP last year, he had 5 crashes on the Honda. Let's not forget, he went through that ordeal on board the bike on the Honda last year, and so coming back to a track that he loves you have to feel this is Marc Marquez's best chance to win a Grand Prix so far this year, but it started a little bit inauspiciously.
Yeah, it started quite bad. I mean, he's having problem with his bikes. He's had a couple of crashes already. So yeah, not a great start. And see what happens there. Marc Marquez on his out lap. He's like, you see that, and there we go. You lose confidence, and you start going a little bit slower. He didn't commit in the out lap there in the waterfall where he just crashed early on, and that effectively what it does is it brings less temperature into your tires, and then it means that you're going to less grip, and so it's a really fine margin in between. Ooh, we've been in the gravel there as well. Turn 1 probably going straight from Vinales.
Just been informed that Moto E qualifying, which we'll have on TNT Sports 2 later on, has been moved a little bit later, but don't worry, it's going to still happen, but about 10 minutes later than planned because of the airbag repair. So for anyone looking to watch that when we finish here, oh no, another one, and it's Taka Nakagami, is that?
And here is another off. Nakagami has crashed at turn 1. What a surprise, it's a right-hand corner. The bane of this weekend. Right-handers. Right, so... right. Nakagami has crashed in turn 1, but he seems to be okay. He might even possibly be able to get... That was a lot of to be ables. He might be able to get the bike running. His small replay, you can see on a little corner there. Yeah, he just dropped it, and the bike just went right into the gravel yet again. Thankfully, he seemed quite okay, and I'm not sure about the bike, but maybe he can grab a second bike and just continue with the weekend. He seems fine though.
Asymmetric.
All of the fronts.
All of the fronts, yes.
Right.
It looks like it from the information that we got. Yes, and so front and rears. The problem is here, you got these 7 corners that are just never ending on the left side, and only 3 corners on the right side. Turn 1, which is like a really slow kind of like quirky corner. Turn 3, which is not really loaded, you're just going around really on just a very small opening with the gas. And then turn 11, the waterfall, where there is no real load on the tires, especially the front. So the right side of the tires need to be much softer than the left side. Yeah, there is performance to be found there, and safety as well. So yes, all the tires are asymmetric, and they need to be very strong on the left side, especially the rear tire. The rear tire needs to support them on all those long corners from here there. So that's turn 3. And you got turn 4, and turn 4 until turn 11, basically, until you tip into turn 11, it's all on the left side. Your tire is getting absolutely hammered with a lot of lean angle.
Into the Omega here. This is where Stelman was saying just riding around. It's the bottom of the hill on the inside of the racetrack. Then it's all left from here. All of it left. 4, 5, 6, dropping down the hill. Into 7 now, starting to wind up. One of the lowest points of the circuit on that side of the hill.
And Marc is getting up to speed now.
Yeah, through 8. Personal best lap in this session.
9 and 10 still there, and that's where you flick right. That's where Marc crashed early on.
And he will be ever so circumspect through there on this occasion, although he does make up time in the third sector. He was the fastest in sector 3 earlier today, the second fastest in sector 4.
Got a nice reference here with Enea, and yeah, took the tentative lap, made sure the right side of the tire was up to temperature, and he just built all the way around those left-handers.
Oh, that's a massive gain in the last sector again. Wow. 3 times, just that, in the last sector.
That's his first proper lap since getting thrown over the high side at 180 kilometers an hour down the hill earlier in the session, with a bike that wasn't playing ball earlier.
Soft rear, medium front. Marc Marquez instantly just comes back and makes sure that's almost like a banker, isn't it, in there? He's almost like an early, let's put that in and try and work around our problems. Frankie Morbidelli's on a fast lap halfway round, and Air Bastianini in sector 1 is a quarter of a second underneath Marquez's time. We're going to get feels like some fast laps coming up here.
It's that last sector. Marc Marquez this morning already. He had a couple of temps and yeah, made a huge difference in that last sector. Using the same combination of tires as Bagnaia was using, and he's still using now, so that medium front soft rear looks like, you know, unless the temperature goes up drastically tomorrow, that's going to be the combination for the sprint. Maybe some switches to the hard front if it gets much hotter, but yeah, it looks like that rear soft is working really well. Marquez 20.3, that's 6/10 of the outright lap record, which is 19.7 for 2022. Bagnaia, so getting into the groove now. Although here, half a second is a huge difference because the track is so small.
I just want to remind anyone who might have just switched on the TV, hoping to see the last minutes of this session.
And another one.
Another one this time. It's
Here is another crash. It is Johan Mir at turn 1. Another right-hander. Turn 1 and 11 are just not working out well. Mainly turn 1. It's going to be very interesting for the start of the race this weekend. So Mir has crashed out. Very angry about that. I'm guessing he was on a fast lap. He still has like half an hour left of the session though to get it all done. And in fairness, his bike did not actually seem to be that bad. I reckon just have a little bit of a push and he'll be fine. He can get it going again, it seems. Martin is a 3,000th of down. Oh, now he's 2/10 down from his original time. Yeah, he's going to need to... Oh, no, not his original time. Of Marquez's time. Jeez. Currently on board with him. He's estimated 5th. And who's 6th? Who's 6th going into the thing? And who's that also down? That's Acosta at turn 1. Turn 1. Again. Let's see what Acosta did. Is it what we've been seeing consistently throughout the weekend? It is. And I just realised something. It's when they hit a certain point. Every single time they hit the exact middle. Like around that sector of middle of that corner. They go down. Maybe there's oil on it, or maybe the right hand corners are just like not working out, because it does seem to be a pattern. But Acosta's now down. Not long after Mir. And it's all in that first corner. That seems to be the biggest problem on this track, even more than turn 11. It's number 1 in the turns. Right, I'll go back to TNT now, but it's quite interesting to think about.
We don't know, Marquez has had problems after falling on his head of what we call diplopia, which is like a basically double vision.
cost him the Moto2 World Championship in 2011.
Yeah.
Had corrective.
And then he came back again after that massive crash in Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah.
That sat him out a few races and double vision issues. So hopefully he's okay.
He looked dizzy there as we watch him basically climb the steps at the back of the box. So that means normally that means his session is finished. He's just getting, that's where you'd go and to get changed.
We said it looked like a one-off. I'm just going to put a lap in and try and get myself a spot in Q2 early on.
He did fall heavy on his head as well. The high side was very violent and he landed on his head.
Bagnaia getting frustrated with Mir.
Yep, cruising a bit. Was that Fernandez? Another one.
I'll give you one guess. Augusto Fernandez has crashed. Where is it? Come on, tell me, where is it? They have not told me where it is yet. Who's crashed? Come on. Turn 3! Turn 3. Which? Is that a right-hander? Hold on. Excuse me while I check this. So, Fernandez has crashed. I'll be back when I find out whether this is a right-hander.
But running consistently with medium front, medium rear tyres. Low 121s. It's around about where race pace will be. Maybe high 20s for the front runners anyway.
Yeah, Mr. Fernandez was on the medium front as well, so but yeah, all the crashes or most of the crashes are happening in right-handers.
Brad Binder's on a lap for here now. Soft rear tyre.
It is! It is! Turn 3 is also a right-hander. I should have remembered that from when I looked at it earlier. But it is also a right-hander. So each crash in this session has been when they went on a right-hand corner. What is it with these right-hand corners? They are not good for the bikes. Jeez.
Obviously, Dr. Charte said it's okay to go back out there and straight back into the
Put the shoulder back
I love
in.
that. I love that. Yeah, it must have been a dislocated shoulder, so he's all right. Yeah, it's definitely, that's why. Yeah, he's okay to get his legs on and go back out on track.
I knew it was a dislocated shoulder. I knew it could be a possibility because something hit him in the shoulder and displaced it. But I'll hand you back.
He was holding his arm straight away, you know, in the gravel. He didn't even stand up and he was holding it. That means you feel like dislocation feels like, I don't know, it feels like you got like a needle in there. It just feels really weird. And then he pops back in and it's like, oh, you know, you're relieved and the pain goes away almost instantly.
I tweaked a muscle playing cricket genuinely the other day. I'm still hobbling, you know, 5 days on, you know. Yeah, anyway, they are made of different stuff. I'm pleased, I'm really pleased, because Fabio Di Gianantonio...
It's not a broken collarbone,
good
otherwise he would be out.
That's all right.
Broken bone, you're out.
No, you just ride it 5 days later like Joe Roberts. Yeah, of course. After having had it...
Say what, Joe Roberts, he's brave. That's hurting, yeah.
It's hurting, but he's got through. And as the team have told us, obviously he's not on the full painkillers. It'll be a couple of paracetamol and see what I can deal with.
So I was talking with Raul Fernandez, and he was telling me just how calming and how professional Davide Brivio is, which is not a surprise, obviously, because I knew it already. But I just wanted to say again, just that man, Davide Brivio, that put the Suzuki team all together, and brought the team to win that title for Joan Mir in 2020. Now working with the Trackhouse team and working, his working method is just so good. He's so professional, but also relaxed in the same at the same time. And well, Fernandez was very complimentary about him.
I spoke to Davide at length last weekend, and he has basically been handed full control by Justin Marks. Justin Marks is not having anything to do with the day-to-day running of it. That's why you're in.
Well, if you're going to delegate and do some clever delegating, this is the man. I mean, this is the man that knows how to do it. And it's nice to see that in a different environment with different people. Davide again is able to make people happy and competitive.
I've got a line off the PR46 team. Fabio's been declared fit. That's what
Mark has changed,
and he's
going somewhere on his
medical centre.
Yeah, probably. I would say
he's hobbling a bit. Look at him just limping a bit.
Yeah, I would say it's about feeling dizzy, and it's about
I agree.
Some kind of head, landing on it because he landed on his head, or twist his neck or something like that.
2 things at play. He will not want to miss this race. He knows it's his best chance, right? The other thing is he's got a factory Ducati contract in his back pocket. There is no pressure from anyone to go out there and perform. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, if he's feeling dizzy and any of the symptoms that would look like what he's had in the past, he's got experience with that. He's got experience as well with, when he tried to come back too early with his arm, and they're going to have to seriously think about that if this is what's happening there, because that kind of any kind of concussion, any kind of shock to the head or to the neck, that where you got symptoms like that straight away, is you don't want to fall again on it. You need to look after yourself. And after this race, there's a month. So I mean, we're trying to go ahead of what might happen for this race, but there is a month until Silverstone where, you know, you can get some rest. Obviously, we all want to see Mark riding around here on Sunday, but yeah, let's hope it's not too bad.
Just so you know, and I know people often do question the concussion protocol, there is one in the sport. The SCAT 5 test is the name, the concussion assessment tool, as it's known. It's often just a simple set of biometric questions that they've given before an event, and it's all relayed back to them. But Mark was very ginger there where he was getting into the medical centre.
Even there, it just looks really dizzy.
Yeah.
That does not look good.
But it's a standard tool that's used by medics in sport, effectively. And I'll repeat again something I've said earlier this season. There is a set of FIM guidelines currently being drawn up by the FIM Chief Medical Officer, Dr. David McManus, from your part of the world, Michael, who's a top man. And he is working on something that works as much as it works for MotoGP, as much as it works for trial, as much as it works for Speedway, and so on and so forth. They're trying to get something that works across, but it's not an easy thing to drag.
And it's a complex injury as well, you know, concussion and in different grades, and it needs to be addressed, obviously, because the nature of the sport means that, you know, riders very often falls on their head, and also they would try anything to ride, those riders. So sometimes they need to be preserved from themselves. So there needs to be a proper, a protocol where, you know, the injuries are being able to be assessed and to be rehabilitated.
But there isn't one. That's the long and short of it. From the FIM conference that was there, Dr. Michael Turner.
It's not an official one. They do check.
He basically said, the long and short of it was, the line he said to me was, until the NFL come up with something, until the American military or the NFL come up with something, there won't be a test, because the money, the funding isn't there. It's not curing cancer, it's not finding a cure for malaria or whatever. It is something that needs funding privately for people to pursue sporting activities, or, as I say, the military.
Zarco is back at it. 4-time fourth there.
Yeah. So Zarco's on it, but so is Pedro Acosta. And it's new rear tyres for both of them. Acosta goes second, Zarco unable to do it. Zarco was on the podium last year in third place in the MotoGP race. Remember him having good races here in the Tech 3 team in the past. He's good around this.
Yeah, he loves it around here. But what he's doing so far is quite good. I mean, he was P5 early on, P12 now.
One here in
7th, 10th.
One in Moto 2 in 2016.
Fabio frustrated there as he crossed the line. We've seen a few red indicators on those both laps, but not able to piece it all together, whether it was a slight mistake from him. Got slapped at the machine as he crossed the line.
Alex Marquez now. New 2-year contract for the Grassini team, and he comes up the hill and across the line he goes, top of the tree, fastest lap of the day, ahead of his brother Marquez 1-2.
Oh, that was a good last split as well. He didn't lose anything, and Mark makes time of everybody on those lap 2 splits. So yeah, good split. Looks like the Grassini bike actually is working well. The engine mapping must be really good for that last sector. It's both Marquez's brother. I've got a gap on everybody else on that last sector. Let's see how much Costa loses, if he does.
Rhea sits down as he comes out and improves but stays fourth. In terms of the ride height devices, when do you get to use it here?
You use it here coming out the last turn. That's about it.
I thought I was going to say, isn't that the only place?
Yeah, just for the straight. Makes a big difference though here, because it's very hard to apply to use the power. It's a straight, obviously, you come out second gear, but it goes uphill, so as soon as the bike becomes straight, there's a lot of wheelie. Second, third, even fourth gear, they can't unleash the full power.
Which is why we've always said over the years, there is less of a disparity between perhaps the top bikes and...
It's not about the top end power here, it's about how you can use it, it's about the efficiency. So, yeah, the ride height device, 2 times up there, let's see if...
Vinales was good in this last sector earlier today. outside leg just came off the foot peg ever so slightly, and he goes to the top.
Did still lost a tenth and a half, but
Oliveira's going well. He was up briefly at the top of the timesheets, and then Vinales knocked him back into second. But Oliveira's having a decent weekend.
2 Aprilias at the top.
A decent first day, shall I say? Only on Friday. Costa once more. I think there's going to be an improvement there. Jack Miller goes ahead of Acosta though, up into 6th place.
That's good for Jack.
Yeah.
Loves it around here. He was strong last year.
And the year before, yeah. He was the only KTM in a sea of Ducatis, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, Brad Binder had been there. I think he crashed out late on. But Frankie Morbidelli now ahead of Marc Marquez. So that banker lap for Marquez, is that going to be enough? I'm not sure it will. 120.3.
15 minutes left on the clock. 5th in the session. I don't know if that's enough for Mark, and I don't see him coming back, throwing his suit on and going for another roll of the dice here. I think
You would think not.
No, I think that's it. So yeah, he's going to struggle to maintain a position in Q2 overnight.
Brad Binder out of the final corner. 14th only. Oh, pushing it really hard on the brakes down into turn 1, but Brad Binder again just finding going tough.
Fresh rubber there, shiny, slick like that.
Yeah, you have to think that Martin in 12th, Bagnaia in 8th, they're going to go ahead of Marc Marquez's time. Pedro Acosta will have something, and Ea Bastianini too. It's really hard to see Marc Marquez hanging on. The most important thing, of course, is that he's fit. And it looks like he won't be taking any further part in this session with 14 minutes remaining. A reminder of the championship. Bastianini sits 4th. Just 6 behind Marc Marquez.
Yeah, it's looking tidy for Bastianini as well. Loads of traction there. So you saw the right eye device in the rear there.
It just felt a lot smoother than the KTM, which almost had to get the bike stood up before it would sit down. That was sitting down as he finished off the corner. Binder up to 7th place.
Yeah, they can control the speed at which it goes down, and it's really important actually, because if you make it go down too fast too early, you come with too much leaning on the side of the tire, and then it can start like sort of bouncing, and that doesn't allow you to accelerate as hard. So obviously you want it as low as possible, as early as possible, and the idea is to try and find the limit there, not to upset the bike, the dynamics of the bike, while you can lower that center of gravity and get the power down.
Jack Miller was on a decent lap to let it go in the 3rd split, so not sure quite what happened with Miller. He's back into the pits now. Have a look, bottom left.
I was going to say turn 9, but it looks like it's entry to turn 8 out into the gravel. Oh, just got in a little too hot. As you said, 2 personal bests at sectors 1 and 2. He was on a good lap, so back into pits and a clean and fresh set of tyres for another roll of the dice.
Raul Fernandez up to 8th place, ahead of Miller and Acosta. Bagnaia, as it stands, is outside the 10. Jorge Martin is outside the 10, but don't worry. Bagnaia's just left pit lane, and Martin has just gone red first sector, faster than anyone in there, about a 10th underneath Vinales' time as Binder comes into the pits. Through turn 1 for Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah, Pecco's going to need a lap now. P12 for now. Started the session really well, sort of like race pace mode. Was first for quite a while, and but now it's time to go and push hard, get those last tenth out of the new tires to get through Q2 straight away.
Jorge Martin, last year's race winner, last year's sprint winner, coming through the Queckenberg. Turn 13, final corner, up the hill he goes, powers that Pramac Ducati into 4th place. Fabio Quartararo across the line behind him into 13th. The top 14 down to Pecco Bagnaia, separated by 0.6 of a second.
It's always like that round here, isn't it?
Because they're short
so tight.
Short lap time.
Yeah.
Just a feeling here, Bagnaia is using this first flyer as a little bit of a installation lap, making sure the tyres are up to temperature, and he's going to have his proper time attack the next lap around.
That's the sensible thing to do.
It is.
Little word from Christian Gabarini before. This is what happened with Marc Marquez. Just let's not throw a championship away by having a horror
That's
crash.
how you win championships. By avoiding the mistakes, trying to stay clear of the traps. Oh, I lost the front there going in turn 8.
He's already had one today and another one for Jorge Martin. Not too deep into the gravel though, but he was 0.3 under halfway round. Lap will have to be aborted.
But Pecco Bagnaia 0.2 under at the first sector, so
Oh, that one proper. If you lose the front here, you're in massive trouble. I mean, this is fast. It's a dip as well, so there's loads of energy there. If you lose the front early there, you're going to go a long way.
Oof. Bagnaia's pushing on this lap. Didn't look as settled as that bike looked back in Assen, but now, as you see, into the fast corners, this is where he was so strong in the Netherlands. These kinds of fast corners. Miller's the rider at risk. Acosta already outside of the top 10. Bagnaia is 14th as things stand. Down the hill, through Ralph Feldman curve into the Saxon curve. He's going to go up into 6th place if this lap is finished off. New curves there on the exit of turn 12. The FIM Misano curves have been installed. Bagnaia goes second. Didn't lose anything, in fact picked up time in the final sector to slot in behind Maverick Vinales.
Martin's on a lap again, first indicator. It's gone away in sector 2.
Digi goes 11th. Remember, he had his own big crash in this session that brought out the red flag. Hence us finishing a little past our originally scheduled time. Alex Marquez now takes over from Maverick Vinales. He's looked good this weekend.
Nassen already. P3 on the grid. Well, it was P4 and then got promoted to P3 with a penalty for Jorge Martin. So, yeah, great qualifying for him.
Bottom of the screen. Marc Marquez has been declared fit.
Right, okay, but he's not gone there for nothing. So there is.
I did wonder, was it mandated? Obviously, you can't get word from the medical centre to come and have a checkup.
To get a check, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, but it didn't look like the body language looked like something not quite right.
He was being ginger, wasn't he? He was taking his time. There he is, Fabio Quartararo look coming out of the medical room. Open shirt. Sylvain, as a Frenchman, doesn't understand. What do you mean? This is normal.
They all do it. I don't do it, but Randy used to do it.
Randy the Punier, he was the king of it.
Fabio loves it.
He still does it now when he's working for French TV. Maverick Vinales is on a stonking lap here. This could rival the all-time lap record here. Oh,
and it is.
And it is one. Maverick Vinales out of the blue, 4/10 under, and Vinales a new all-time lap record of the Saxon.
Okay, I'm just gonna take over for a minute since there is a weird power coming through on things, and it might be fixed, I don't know, but I'm just gonna stay off of it right now. Hello, and welcome to what is a very different setting to what I was at earlier, but unfortunately, due to technical issues, the ending was kind of gone. So, I'm going to take you through the results of the practice session for MotoGP at Germany in Saxon, isn't it? Yes, Saxon. Right, so going into Q2 is Vinales, who came in first with a 1:19.622. Second was Martin. Then also going through is Oliveira, Marquez, Alex that is, Bagnaia, Bastianini, Morbidelli, Acosta, D'Antonio and Binder. And then battling it out in Q1 shall be Miller, Raul Fernandez, Marc Marquez, Quartararo, Augusto Fernandez, Zarco, Marini, Nakagami, Bezecchi, Gardner, Bradle, and Mir. And obviously the top 2 from Q1 session will get a place in the Q2 session. So please do join us for that tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye.